Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Round Table Knights Iron Sickle by SNAA, aka a kit that does go as low as $10 or $8 in some countries that is almost, and I mean almost, at the level of Bandai's real grade model kits. This thing is ridiculously impressive. Now, I've only built it so far. If you haven't seen that video, I did unbox and build it, went through every different aspect of its build. Just to kind of summarize real quick, you do build up an inner frame first, extremely detailed, and then you layer on the armor afterwards. Since then, I did actually panline this up a little bit, just using Bandai's, or should I say GSI Crayo's felt tip style panel liner. Now, this kit does say on the box to use water-based acrylics only. This is an oil-based pen, but it didn't seem to cause any kind of issues, and this isn't as harsh as some other panel lining products out there, so that is the one that I went with. That's the only thing I've done since I put up that video, but once again, if you want to check that one out, you can. But let's jump right on into the review. Okay, so jumping right on into the aesthetics, and this right here is what it looks like, just built out of box with a little bit of panel lining, and man, is this thing impressive. So talking about the overall feel this kit right here gives, it is absolutely incredible. It has that mecha feel, it definitely has a knight aesthetic to it, which goes with the theme of round table knights, and on top of that there are some definite Gundam looking influences in there as well. The head is a little bit of a Sinanju vibe, overall we've got a little bit of a Tallgeese kind of color scheme, and the torso has a little bit of a kind of Sazabi flair to it, and there might be a little bit more to it, like the pipes in the forearms looking a little bit iron-blooded orphans. But then again, as it stands, more so than not, this looks entirely original. This is ridiculous looking. The detailing here is incredible. We've got the dark grey of the inner frame coming through from the underneath to the surface through that pristine white armor, which is low lighted with some nice light grey. Overall, it just looks absolutely phenomenal. We do have some nice clear parts here and there on it too to kind of catch the light nicely, and the molding on this is ridiculous. Now, this is the second one of these I've built. I've also built the Thunder Incised Grace, and when I built that I was ridiculously impressed by it. It was an incredibly nice kit and it looks fantastic. This thing has blown it out of the water in every regard. The design has ascended even further, and just the execution of the inner frame, the armor building up onto that, and the actual model kit itself just feels so much more realized. It feels better in the hand, it looks better, and honestly, this is a perfect model kit at the usual asking price. That is insane. So when it comes to those kind of model kit sins, that's the nubs and the seams and all that stuff, I can actually say there's pretty much nothing on this. The plastic on this is one of the, how do you say, it's almost kind of a rubbery plastic. It doesn't say what it is. It feels like ABS, kind of looks like ABS, but it doesn't say on the packaging or the pamphlets really what it is. However, it does mean it does not leave nub marks whatsoever. Even on the darker plastic, I just double snipped this and there's nothing, absolutely nothing anywhere. It is very impressive. As for mold lines, only on simple little aspects, like there's one back here on this, but for the most part, it's all kind of split up into parts quite smartly. We do have some seam lines where some parts are just kind of half and half like these right here, but that is mainly just around on the back. Everything's like chopped up into some tiny little armor pieces and parts that you don't really get that sort of thing too much. However, again, it's hard to tell what plastic this is made out of, so if you do plan on painting it or something like that, it's hard to tell how it would be to approach. Anyway, moving on to the side comparison, there it is side by side with a high-grade Gundam, and I'll throw the real grade RX-78 2.0 in on the side as well. So once again, this is definitely a kit that has more in common with the real grade than a high grade, and as you can see, it's quite a tall unit. Just popping out the high grade, and popping in a master grade so you can see where it falls in between both of those. So closer to the high grade than the master grade, but somewhere almost in the middle. Definitely a larger sort of mecha suit. Next up, there it is side by side with the previously released Thunder Incised Grace. So as you can see, it's in and around the same head height as that, a little bit bigger in the body. And compared to some 1/44th scale Gundams, there is high-grade Barbatos, high-grade Gundam Exia, high-grade Gundam EX, and high-grade Gundam Ariel. And finally, beside a couple of larger Bandai kits, there's the high-grade Psycho Doga, the real-grade Sazabi, and finally the real-grade High New Gundam. So now jumping into the accessories, and here is the iron sickle with absolutely everything that it comes with, and it comes with a lot. We've got a full included stand in here, the absolutely massive iron sickle, we've got 2 small handheld blades as well, small relatively, the shield, as well as a cacophony of hands. That is 12 in total, 6 mirrored pairs, and that is astounding. Let's check it all out. So when it comes to the hands that we have in here, we've got the fists that we've had on here the whole time. Overall, the hands on this are nicely sculpted, and all the individual parts, including the fingers, are separate from each other. For example, on this one right here, it's the main body of the hand, the fingers, and the thumb are separate pieces. From here on out, we have a mirrored pair of each of these. That's a left and a right. So we've got pointing hands with an extended finger and a thumb. Fully widespread hands. Once again, the design of these is nice. The fingers are nice and slender, and they are pointed as well at the top. If you ever wished your mecha could throw up the devil horns, there you go. You can do that with this one. So this is another pre-posed hand. Once again, there it is from behind. Next up, we've got holding hands with a little bit of a hole through them. These are for holding on to the various weapons included in here. And we also have these holding hands as well, which seem to have a bit of a larger kind of hole for holding onto stuff. As far as I know with this kit, that's probably going to just be the same weapons again, but not particularly sure. Next up in here, we do have a full stand in that nice clear, I'm not sure if it's a bluish green or a greenish blue. Overall, it is very nice. It just has one angle. It can't be moved here. You can actually move it up top here though, so you can get it moving around a little bit. I will mention that I wasn't able to push this the whole way in. I didn't want to kind of rotate it after that point or screw around with it too much, because even though this does feel quite strong, it is a clear plastic that does feel like it could crack if you over put pressure on it. Anyway, apparently around here on the back is where you can attach it in. Now, if you do remove this little segment back here, you do get the hole. That means you won't be able to actually attach the side on in its stored position. There is a little slot down here as well, which you can actually stick it into, but as you can see, a seam runs through it, so it doesn't actually hold tight onto it. But anyway, for now, we're just gonna go with this little segment right here. It just pops on in like so, and holds on incredibly nicely. So first up, when it comes to the weapons, we've got this right here, which is the sickle that puts the Iron Sickle in Iron Sickle Kay. Now, for the most part, this is plain enough. We do have some nice, clear effect parts right there in the center. The blade is just in a gray plastic. The body is in a black plastic. There's a little bit of a boing to it, which isn't really so bad. Overall, nice. And we do have a little bit of a bladed section in black towards the bottom. So when it comes to getting this attached onto the hand, first off, I'm going to comment a little bit on the posability of this kit. Overall, it is quite decent. However, this kit in general is made of, again, I'm not sure what the actual plastic is. Feels a bit ABS-y. And it does mean it's kind of rubbery, so sometimes parts pop off, including the armor sections from each other. That's kind of one of the main issues these kits tends to have. If I wasn't actually building this for the review, I would cement them together, anything pretty much that doesn't move. Overall, though, the articulation is quite nice, needs a little bit limited, but getting into a position for attaching the side on, not difficult at all. Attaching this into the hand is just the usual kind of sandwich hand situation. You pop the back of the hand like so, attach the sickle in like so, and well, close it up, then pop it onto the wrist, and that right there is what you get. This does look pretty nice. I wouldn't say it's over the top awesome or anything like that. Compared to the actual robot itself, it is very, very plain. It is nice, it's big, but again, overall, not the most kind of ridiculous looking weapon. It's plain, 3 colors, but it gets the job done, and it is nice and large. Now, we'll mention in some kind of poses, if you have this at like an extended angle, it does have a little bit of issue. Well, the stand does actually holding it up. It's kind of the ball joint on it, just ends up kind of, let's get that up there a little bit. Yeah, it can just kind of like drop down like so. Again, you could just probably tighten up or fix the ball position back here if you wanted to. When this is not in use, you can just pop it out of the hand just like so, and this can be stored on this little piece right here, which does actually attach into the upper waist section when the stand is not attached. There's the stand on there right now, so I can't attach this on. So yeah, it can be stored in the back, but we're moving on to some other weapons. So the next pair of weapons we have in here are these. So these are the kind of smaller sickle sections. These actually have a moving part. They can move up to like so. They're almost like those kind of mountain climbing pick things, those kind of ice hatchet Yokuma bobbers, but yeah, that's what they're like, and they can tuck away like that. So attaching these on is super simple. Popping them into the hands is exactly the same as we would have seen with the other weapon. They just pop in like so, then into the wrist like this, and that is what one looks like equipped in the hand. When they're not in use, they can be stored around the backpack, just like so. They just plug on in, simple as. Now, at first I thought I'd put these on backwards, because in my mind the handle would come up over the shoulder so the mecha could actually grab it, but I guess maybe it comes in under the arm just like so. Again, I thought it was upside down, check the manual, but no, this is the way that they attach. So the last piece of equipment we have in here is the shield. Again, very nicely color separated and detailed. So you can see even from the front there, 4 colors, the light gray, white, yellow, and dark gray. The dark gray coming through from the underside, which again is very nicely detailed and a simple little connection point. You can have this high or low depending on what you prefer. Attaching this onto an arm is the usual kind of mecha procedure, so it just pops on into that hole just like so. No issues whatsoever. So just getting this into a little bit of a pose of it kind of charging forward with the shield up for defense, I decided to actually just kind of record it to kind of get the vibe of it. Now posing this kit is okay. It's not quite as ingenuitive or kind of fluid as one of Bandai's offerings. It's definitely a little bit more awkward. There's a couple of looser joints and there is tighter joints, mainly tight joints, which is a good thing. But the side skirts do like to pop off quite a little bit. Now, I don't know if SNAA would ever watch one of my videos or anything like that, but I would highly recommend doing one of those ball joints that are almost like half ball jointed on one side, as a bad way of kind of describing it, that you actually attach them on upside down, then twist them down so they lock into position. That would actually keep them from falling off as they are right now, because otherwise everything on this is absolutely perfect. They're the only thing that kind of tends to try to wander, but otherwise great posing experience, a little bit limited at the knees, and the pose I got in the end is pretty decent. So finally now onto the articulation end. This right here, as you can see, is rock solid. It does have that kind of little bit of a wiggle to it. That is kind of the rubbery aspect to this particular plastic. Again, I'm not sure if it is ABS or not, but it does feel like it might be. So it does kind of have a rubbery aspect to it, which means it is kind of, well, very durable, but does mean when you move some parts, I do find that like some of the armor bits like to kind of, like you can see there, try to work their way off over time. It can be mildly annoying, but I do recommend kind of cementing anything that does not move. Anyway, usual test pose time. So finally there it is in the usual pose, and as you can see it's kind of funny. So the articulation on this is very nice. The leg is definitely the most kind of limited aspect because that's all of the bend we get there. It is blocked by this stuff right here. We've got a nice toe bend upwards, so that does allow it to kind of get in the position that you do want. There's a lot going on in the articulation in the waist right here, moving up out of the waist unit, which is very nice and does get you a lot out of it. And well, when all the kind of various aspects of it are moving around, you kind of realize how short the arms are compared to the like legs and whatnot. They're really short arms, which is kind of funny. But yeah, all in all, that is absolutely incredible and poses up incredibly well. But yeah, overall, some parts like to wiggle a little bit loose at times, not too bad. There's a lot of range of movement at most things besides the knees, I would say. But besides that, it's nice, it's interesting. You can extend a lot of different aspects to it, like the dropping waist sections. And overall, it just looks cool and dynamic from every single angle. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this thing is absolutely colossally fantastic. It is amazing. The step up from the Thunder Insize Grace is very noticeable. The build of this is so much fun. It does in stages. You actually build the inner frame first, then build on all the armor. What you get in the end is absolutely spectacular looking. Throw a couple of panel lines into those recesses and it just pops. The quality here is fantastic. This is not like your typical, say, third-party Gundam kit, which it is not by any means. It's a fantastic mecha model kit in its own right, but it doesn't have any fitting issues, nothing like that. It's perfect, smooth, the build is fantastic, and what you get looks incredible. The set of accessories in here is nice too. You've got a whole ton of different options included. Stand, tons and tons of unique hands in various different poses, and when it comes to the articulation on this, it is extremely nice. The side skirts can pop off every now and then. If there was a bit of a locking mechanism to lock those balls in, it would be a little bit better. The knee is a little bit limited too, because it is a little bit on the chunky side, but overall, absolutely incredible model kit. This does retail from $8 to $10 in some countries. If you're in those countries, buy it now. Something a little bit more higher is a little bit more realistic. I got it for more $33 if I'm not mistaken, but still it feels worth every penny. SNAA are absolutely destroying it. I know you guys have recommended a lot of their bigger kits to me, and I will get to them because they are fantastic and I cannot wait to see more. Highly recommended. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Mecha model kit reviews, and I'll see you next time. Once again, I kind of finished this video right here without special thanks to the channel members and the patrons over on Patreon, including Simon Paskin, Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Joe, RG59061, ShadowWolf179, Van Fawn, and Scotty Thomas.